Hey there, all you queens and cryptids, and welcome to Queer and Loathing, the only podcast by insufferable people for insufferable people.
Amen.
I'm your host, Brett Bodie, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts.
I'm Mel.
I'm Samantha.
That's right, they sure are, those names.
Thank you.
And today,
As far as you guys know.
yes, as far as we're disclosing on this podcast, and today we're discussing Tim Burton's Beetlejuice.
But no, not the new one.
Yes, not Beetlejuice Beetlejuice.
Just one Beetlejuice.
Singular.
From 1988?
Yep.
Yes, very good. I was trying to unlock my computer to find out, and you nailed it.
Good job.
Yeah.
I would say I always do, but nope.
But we can go back and listen to the previous episode, so we know that's not true.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so let's dive right in with our history with this film. Who wants to go first?
I can go.
You go. No, you.
Me. I'm gonna go. My history is I think it was on Disney Channel a lot, so I saw it a lot as a kid.
Really?
And it was on something, and it must have been Disney Channel because I watched a lot of that when I was a kid. So it was just on all the time, and it makes me think of fall. I love this. So I'm just gonna say it now. I love Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. And I said it 3 times because I used to not be able to. At the start of this podcast,
That's true.
I was too nervous, and I've grown.
You
and
have.
That's my history with Beetlejuice.
The
Yeah,
only-
you've grown much like Michael Keaton from his little mini
Yeah.
version in the little model town to his full-sized version.
Yeah, I mean, I watched this, I think, at a lot when I was younger, but I never really cared very much about it. We'll talk more about Tim Burton's other movies that, one of which I would say there's a few that I gravitated towards more. So yeah, I rewatched it and I pretty much remembered most of it because there's not a lot that goes on in this movie. But yeah, I would say that it's, I don't think it's very good. That's kind of my hot take. But we'll talk about it. I don't hate this movie. But yeah, Brett?
Yeah, so I did not grow up watching this at all. I never saw it as a child.
Was this like a censorship thing or just like a weird blind spot?
Just a weird blind spot. So I think I first saw it in like late 20s. Like just watched it with like a group of coworkers because they wanted to watch it. And I was like, oh, so that's what all the fuss has been about. And then I watched it for a second time last night. And I have a similar hot take to you, Mel, in that I don't really like this movie that much.
All right,
Although
Sam.
I heard you laugh, though.
I was just going to say, that said, there are bright spots in this movie. And I did laugh a good amount, actually. Like, a lot of there's, like, this movie is so weird.
Yes.
It is.
And a lot of that stuff really tickled me. So, like, I definitely don't dislike this movie. I just feel that it's...
I don't dislike it either.
You can't deny that they made it.
Exactly. You can't deny it.
And I wouldn't.
And it's my kind of weird.
Sure.
It's a series of sort of like set pieces and gags.
Yes, I agree.
And its bright spots shine really brightly.
Yeah.
But it is funny to me that like Sam and I grew up because when you said that you probably watched on the Disney Channel, I'm like, really, the movie where like the main plot point is
They had
like
a lot of
pedophile?
Yes.
Well, and there was a pedophile actor in it. We found out later, decades later, but you know.
True.
Not only is there a pedophile actor in it, there's a murderer actor in it, and there's a Alec Baldwin
you're right.
literally shot someone to death.
Yeah.
You're right.
I don't even have to say allegedly.
It happened.
It's
I would say
allegedly
he's a manslaughterer.
crime. Yeah, I would say allegedly it was a crime, but he
Sure.
did
Person slaughter.
But he was...
shoot someone
yes,
to death
He
with
did
a gun.
shoot someone to death with a gun.
I shouldn't be laughing about it.
R.I.P. to that lady.
Yeah, that's terrible. But it is funny that this movie, it's just like, no matter what you watch that's old, there's going to be some just, I mean, at least it doesn't
That's
have
true.
Johnny Depp in it.
And, also luckily, I don't think Winona Ryder's going to act with Johnny Depp anyways, so
I thought you were going to say I didn't think Winona Ryder would act. Because that's my hot take about Winona Ryder is I
No,
just don't
I'm
think
definitely going to talk about it too.
Okay.
She does act.
Yeah, she does.
Well,
She's just not great.
Yeah, right. Quality aside, she definitely is doing something.
She says her lines and she says them in a way.
She does have a certain inflection, doesn't she?
She's a couple that she can do in different movies.
This sounds so
Or
shady.
this-
I generally like Winona Ryder. I just am not the most impressed by her talent as an actor.
All the performances are okay. I mean, it's like I would never say this is like Gina Davis's or
Right.
like Alec Baldwin's best roles.
Right.
But I
or
think
Michael Keaton. Like,
I mean, Michael Keaton, I honestly
he
He was
I mean,
having a
talk-
great time.
well, talk about understanding the assignment.
Yes.
Obviously, he's giving the right performance for this movie.
I remembered him being better in this than when I watched it. Because, like, rewatching it as an adult, I was like, wow, he really just kind of does this the whole time. Which, like,
Yes.
He does.
hey, it's a vibe.
It is.
It's like that plus being a pedo and a pervert in
Yeah.
general is the character, which I think if you had asked me when I was a kid, like, what's Beetlejuice's character and his motivation, I don't know what I would have told you. Maybe just like, oh, he's gross.
He's
And
gross
he's
and he wants
wacky.
to be free.
Question mark.
Right.
We'll
I
talk
mean,
about
But
this
also
a lot,
doesn't-
but-
Right. Who knows?
Mm.
And now I can tell you, like, oh yeah, he's pervy and does not care about the age, or maybe it's a bonus. if
He's
they're
already
young.
600 years old, so it doesn't matter to him.
I guess that's true.
Samantha,
Yeah,
you saw the new one.
I did. I did see the new movie. And I also enjoyed it, so you'll probably hate it. But yeah, I was interested in buying my ticket, and I bought my mom a ticket and was like, let's go see it. And she was down. So yeah, it was very much playing to the first movie.
I figured it was just going to be a lot of sort of fan service.
A lot
nostalgia.
of fan service.
Yeah.
But it looked like, just from the limited, like the one trailer I saw, that it has a lot of the same imagery from the first one in a similar style.
Yes, they
Does it
definitely.
use practical effects?
I believe they did, because I remember
what it-
taking note
That's
in my
what it
head.
looked like, yeah.
But definitely new elements too. I mean, it's, still very, definitely practical, but, modern technology too. And one thing y'all made me think of is watching Beetlejuice. I was like, okay, Winona, what are we doing with our acting? Is this the character? And then when Brett and I saw Beetlejuice last night, I was like, oh, she's consistent with the character, making the same faces. I'm like, yeah, this is Lydia. But I think it still had Danny Elfman as the composer, so like the
We
music
have to
was.
talk about the music.
Sure.
Yes, we definitely do.
Was the music incredibly frenetic and insane?
Yeah.
We already said it was Danny Elfman.
Hello, what?
I wish you'd listen sometimes.
Nah.
Another musical possession.
Okay,
Which
I
is
figured you
exactly
would.
when we talked about the weirdness of this. That is my jam. Possess me with music. Possess me with dancing. I was definitely dancing last night when watching Beetlejuice. I don't know if Brett noticed, but I was like in another area doing the whole dance sequence with it because I love that. That's my favorite part of the first movie.
I think it's
But-
most people's favorite part.
It's so fun.
I enjoyed it. I was
It's so
definitely, our feet were tapping in sync at the ending.
Yeah?
I noticed the
Oh.
musical moment when Lydia's like floating and dancing and she's all happy. We were just like, it was our right feet were just going.
We were possessed.
We were.
Yeah. I mean, Harry Belafonte is a jam. So it wasn't Harry Belafonte in the new one.
Oh.
I can't remember what it was, but it's something I think y'all would recognize. I'd
Mm.
have to look it up, and I won't do that.
I was a bit gagged when the trailer for this came out, and I was like, they're not going to do it. And they did. They did the banana song in the slow, ominous nostalgia
No.
style.
Yep.
And I was like, I can't even tell anymore what's real. Like,
None of it's real.
is it serious? Like, is it seriously like this is the nostalgia? Because, like, Ghostbusters did that, and that's a comedy.
Yeah, that's
Like, all these movies do that now where they take sort of the famous theme or song and then they slow it down, or they have, like, a children's choir sing it, and then it just sort of, like, has this grand sort of nostalgic thing. It's like, really? The banana song?
Yes.
Right.
But, like, or maybe it's, like, a joke. Maybe it's, like, a wink-wink where it's, like, that's so dumb.
No.
But I just can't imagine
I doubt
marketing
it.
people.
Well, because
Yeah.
also I think trailers are generally made by like a trailer house company.
Yeah, they're never...
So it's not the production itself. So it's like, you think there's hacks in Hollywood, but the hacks who are too hacky for Hollywood work for those trailer companies.
Makes sense.
They be
Yeah.
spoiling some movies sometimes. That irritates me.
Well, that's why I don't
They
watch
do.
trailers
Yeah.
if I want to see the movie. This one I watched, I think, one of the trailers because I didn't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the new movie, I feel like it was a little more like of the living focused versus
Oh, that's a
the
shame.
first movie.
It's like the best stuff and the
No, you spend time in the other world, whatever
Undead
it's supposed to
bureaucracy
be. Yes. Where you just never get a fucking break. You're gonna have to work in life in and death. But yeah, and I enjoyed the new one. It was, I mean, it's probably a little more into my element, as in there's like mother themes, and I'm like me and my child someday when they're so annoyed with me, and I'm like, I am who I am, sorry, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely was in the same spirit. So watch it at home for free when you can stream it. For those of you who are not into Beetlejuice, but if you're into Beetlejuice,
but if they love it, the first
go
one,
see
they'll
it.
like the second.
Yeah,
one. Does it seem like Tim Burton got his shit together? It's not like over stylized.
yeah. You know
Yeah.
what? I wasn't overwhelmed by Tim Burton.
Okay.
I think he
Glowing
showed
review if I've ever.
he showed some restraint.
Yeah.
And then I think found his latest girlfriend on that. So
I bet he did.
what's her face?
If you say Jenna Ortega, I will kill myself.
No. It's not. It's not
So
Jenna Ortega. Bellucci?
Oh, Monica Bellucci.
Thank you, Monica Bellucci.
That's
yes.
right. He's now dating Monica Bellucci.
Is that of the Bellucci's?
No. It's okay.
She's like very famous for being just like so beautiful and Italian. She was also the Merovingian's wife in the Matrix movies.
Yeah. I thought he was still dating Eva Green, and then it was like, nope, Monica Bellucci. And I was like,
He
okay.
loves his beautiful
I'm
brunettes
so
who
far
seem way
behind.
out of his league.
I was like, I'm so far behind. I thought he was still with Elena Bonham Carter.
No,
so-
but he
Certainly
definitely
not.
has a type.
Yes,
he likes
does.
them pale and brunette.
He does like people pale.
Yeah.
He has said he doesn't like to cast black people
Yep.
because he doesn't like know how to light them, basically. He's like, it's pale or nothing.
I'm going to guess he's never actually tried,
Well, there were some black people in Wednesday.
but didn't try to.
I don't remember him. I mean,
You don't.
it was
we'll
a
ask
Netflix
him.
production, so I'm sure nobody tried.
Well,
It's like
you
the
know.
Coen brothers are like, yeah, they just don't really fit into our stories. And like, you know, Tim Burton's like, yeah, they just don't really fit into my aesthetic. And it's like, you could
Thanks.
just literally not say anything.
Yeah.
And it would
Right.
probably,
Hello.
and then just let us speculate.
Yes,
Because your
Right.
defense is just
Don't
making you
confirm
sound
it.
worse. I mean,
exactly.
the fact that he's such close friends with Johnny Depp tells me all I need to know about him.
Yeah.
But can we talk a bit about Tim Burton and
Please.
Mhm.
what I think is one of the most remarkable standout descents into trash of any director? Because there are directors who have had their ups and downs. We've talked about M. Night, where, you know, he started really strong and then has had some touch and go, but like I wouldn't say that it's consistently going down for him.
I agree.
He has some bright spots.
I enjoyed Trap.
Yeah, me too. And I
Split, I thought was great.
think I said on our Alien episode, our first episode,
Check it out.
check it out, that I thought Ridley Scott was a very uneven filmmaker, but there's never been a decline or ascent. He's just uneven film to film, I feel.
I think Ridley Scott has a similar issue of Tim Burton where, and this tends to be the problem, I think, with directors where they get so famous, people stop telling them no or that things are bad. It's like, for Ridley Scott, I think he gets too much in his own head and he's just exploring things he wants to explore and he loses touch with things that make movies like normal.
Yes, or
And
things that
functional.
people actually want to watch.
And I think Tim Burton just got so... Tim Burton has never been, in my opinion, an incredible, like, writer, visionary director, insofar as, like, the script and the characters. He's, like, an aesthetics guy.
Yeah, well, I think he studied painting in
Makes
college,
sense.
if I'm not mistaken. Tim Burton actually studied character animation at CalArts. Like, he was an artist who came to directing later.
I don't think Tim Burton's that bad of a writer. I think that just over time, it's like he's become a more version of his aesthetic. Because it's like if you watch the original Beetlejuice, I'm like, oh, like the aesthetic is there, but it's not like hurting my eyeballs and making me feel sick.
Yes, that was something that we were talking about last night while watching it, is I was like, if Tim Burton made this, 20 years later, the Dietz house would have been like an art
At the beginning.
like nightmare from the get-go. And instead, the house is fairly normal. Then it gets the remodel from
weirdify
Catherine
it.
O'Hara, but it's not weird angles, because a lot of his stuff is like the walls and ceilings meet at weird angles and the doors are crooked, and it's like he restrained there is a bunch of that stuff in it, but it's
Restraint
all
is
in
the
the
right word.
afterlife
Right.
bureaucracy
Which is
part,
more appropriate.
which is fine.
I will say in the new movie, at one point they just have like a black veil draped over the entire house, and that's pretty cool. So
Yeah, and I
was
was
something I
noting I
liked.
kind of liked the aspects of the house remodel in the
Yeah.
original, mostly the exterior.
Mhm.
I liked that it was like the outside of the house, and then there's like an artificial facade that's like
Yeah.
further out. I actually thought that was cool.
And that's as weird as it really gets
Yeah,
on the outside.
I like a funky sculpture too.
yeah.
Ooh,
No.
I would not want any of those in my house.
Oh
outside.
no, I don't want them in my house, but I want to drive by them and be like, look at that sculpture.
Yeah.
Way over there.
Yeah.
It can't hurt me. It can't crawl at me.
Yeah, I do need to see it every day to make sure it's not crawling at me,
Right.
but
Every
I'm
time you
happy-
drive
yeah.
by, it's a little closer. Yeah, I think like he lost restraint at one point. 'Cause it's like, I
Yeah.
think a great example of that. I have not seen a lot of his newer stuff. I think
Me
like
neither.
the 2006 period, I watched. Okay, like the one that I have a soft spot for is Sweeney Todd.
Me too.
Like I like that movie.
I think I said, I was like, is that his last good movie?
It
last
has
night.
it has some aesthetics issues, but that
Yeah, it has some
works
flaws, but
fine for
yeah.
Sweeney Todd
I
because
agree.
Sweeney Todd is so over the top. But it's like the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory one. There are things that are actually kind of good about that movie, and the aesthetics are not it.
Mm.
You know, like that is a movie that I think is like the perfect example of how everything looks. It's too much because when it's all crazy, your eye has nowhere to land on.
Mhm.
And that's what's nice about Beetlejuice is like you're grounded for the most part, and then there's weird things happening, and then when they go to the afterlife, it's like, oh, this is like a waiting room, but then there's something weird kind of happening that can draw your eye.
And there's a contrast between the regular real world and the afterlife.
Mhm.
juxtapositions, baby, they work.
Yes,
like,
they do.
You can't
And
just
that's-
have it be visual slop the entire time and it be like a joyful experience. Like
So, do I understand from this that you didn't enjoy Alice in Wonderland?
I can admit I did not see that movie.
Oh, I did in theaters.
Oh.
And I forgot to mention it when we were talking about our like least favorite movies we've ever seen, because that was another one where I walked out from the theater, like Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I mentioned on Contrarian Corner or whatever we're calling it, that was like the worst movie I've seen in theaters. But I'm like, I forgot about Alice in Wonderland.
You trauma blocked it.
I really did, because it came flooding back to me last night, and I was like, that might be worse.
The
That
Tweedledee,
might be like the worst thing I've ever seen.
the Tweedledee and Tweedledum in that,
Ugh.
because I've seen images from it, and then Helena Bonham Carter's character, like even
With
just
the
like
big head.
seeing what they look like, because I've seen sort of clips and images.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, I can't imagine watching a whole movie with that look. So
Yeah,
I didn't.
It made me ill, I think.
It's nauseating.
Headache. Yeah, it was nauseating.
But what? Okay, so quickly, kind of going around, Samantha.
Oh.
What are some of your favorite Tim Burtons? What are some of your least favorite?
Nightmare Before Christmas. Was
Did
that
he
one? Is that
direct
the one
that?
produced?
I think he produced it.
So are we
But
including
it has his
production?
stink all over it.
It really does. And that's my favorite one. I love it. I love it. You know, it's a musical, so that's great.
With actually some good music.
Yes. And then Beetlejuice.
You don't have to be ashamed.
I'm not ashamed. I love
I would not say
Beetlejuice.
this is a safe space, but
But
that's
definitely
that's a
But it's
respectful.
safe
that's-
enough for
it also
that.
leads into nostalgia for me. Like,
Sure.
as we learned in the previous episode, if it's something I watched a lot as a kid and I loved it, I'm gonna love it forever.
Really? Has there been a movie where you rewatched as an adult and you just
There's one I'm afraid to rewatch because I know it's racist, and it's Dumbo.
well
That's a movie from when I was a kid.
that is
Spoiler alert, it is
especially
racist.
Yeah, I know. So I've not rewatched
Watch the Tim
it.
Burton one that it strips
I
race
won't.
completely from it.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I think the crows are
The
the crows, including the crow named Jim Crow,
Yep.
are
See,
not in it.
as a child, that all went over my head. But upon reflection, I went, I won't be watching that again and won't have my child watch it.
Just YouTube the pink elephant scene, and you've got all you need.
I also enjoyed Sweeney Todd. And then I kind of was overwhelmed by him as well, Tim Burton. So I just kind of stopped watching his stuff. So I don't know about least favorites because I just kind of stopped watching.
He got lost in the sauce, y'all.
He did, because I sure did
He
not,
really
was never
did.
going to watch Alice in Wonderland.
And no, let me say here, no one ever should.
By the time
And
that
I
came
should
out,
not have.
by the time that came out, anyone who saw it was self-harming. Like, you should have known
Yeah.
better.
I let me state for the record, I should have known better. But I self-harmed.
Didn't he do Wednesday on Netflix?
He
For
did,
the
and I
first
actually
several
watched
episodes?
that one.
I also enjoyed that
I didn't
in Jenna
see it.
Ortega.
That one was fine, which is why I think he did get his shit together, Mel, as you asked before. Like, at least somewhat. Because Wednesday wasn't great. I mean, it was just like a teen Netflix show with, like,
You realize every
Addams
single
Family drapings,
person
but
hates
you know,
everything he's done for like 10 years straight.
yeah, and this one was actually, like, watchable.
Yeah, so probably everything I haven't seen is because I was like, no, I don't need to. So, Brett?
So I haven't seen a ton of Tim Burton, but I think my favorites are probably Mars Attacks and Sweeney Todd. I think. I mean, I
You seem
saw.
like someone who would like Big Fish.
Oh,
Yeah, and I
I
haven't-
forgot he did Big Fish. I
Okay.
loved that when I was young again.
Okay, and let me say, I have not seen Big Fish, and I have not seen Ed Wood, and I think those are the ones that I would really like.
I'll lend you my copy of Ed Wood.
Because I have actually been wanting to see it,
It's
and Big Fish. But yeah, I don't know about those. Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
Like,
I
I enjoyed it when I
should've
watched it, but I haven't revisited it, so I don't really know.
I should have been looking at the list because Pee-wee's Big Adventure was one that I liked but was so scared of because of Marge. I had some
Large
nightmares
Marge.
about I just had some nightmares about her.
Large Marge sent you.
No.
No. All right, Mel, what about you?
I mean, I literally have a Mars Attacks tattoo. Mars Attacks is my favorite movie of his.
Yeah.
There are people who think it's bad, and that's fine. You can be wrong. Look, it's gags, it's set pieces. It's an homage to something that I grew up with, which is like the 50s science fiction. It has
Sarah Jessica Parker as with
A
her head on
chihuahua.
a chihuahua
Right.
body, which is very funny
It is
to me.
shockingly star-studded. I mean, like,
Yeah.
Jack Black shows up to get immediately vaporized. There's, like, people in it, like, there's Christina Applegate is, like, out of focus in a scene.
Uh-huh.
Like, you just, like, it's just so many people. There's weird choices in it, but none of them bother me because the movie is so weird. I love stop motion and practical effects. And so the reason why I like Beetlejuice as much as I do is because of that. Like, the practical effects are amazing. I love all the sandworm stuff and
Me too. It was like, oh my god, this is the Dune prequel. They
Yes.
got my letters. They made it already.
And I had that feeling watching the second movie. I was like, oh, am I watching Dune again? Because you do have some sandworm time. Spoiler alert.
I would
-1.
assume that every single thing that didn't get canceled from the first movie is in the new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Big Fish, I saw once, didn't really care that much about it. Pee-wee's Big Adventure, I watched it, I think, at the exact wrong age. Like, I needed to be, like, younger for it to be more whimsical, or I needed to be older to, like, more appreciate. So I need to rewatch that one,
Sure.
probably. Ed Wood, I watched as an adult, which is the right age to watch that, and I thought it was excellent, but I've only seen it a couple times. So, yeah, I think, like, I saw the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and was like, wow, I wish I could not have seen that. I mean, there's things I
Yeah.
like about it, but it's not that good.
I think with different aesthetics
It would've been
and a different actor in the lead role,
Yes.
meaning not Johnny Depp, it would have been pretty good because the rest of the cast is good and
And I like some of the writing choices.
Mhm.
Like, I think some of it makes sense.
I think some of it makes sense.
Well, that's not what I can necessarily say about Beetlejuice. So,
I agree.
yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it's a shame that Tim Burton, who's one of the most, like, visually striking, easiest to pinpoint, like, he has a style, you know it immediately upon
It's
seeing
him and
it.
Wes Anderson, I think, who
Yeah.
are just like, you can see a single frame from one of their movies and you're like, I know who did that.
Oh, and then we forgot to talk about, I like the 2 Batman movies that he did. I really like, I watch Batman Returns a lot. Michelle Pfeiffer is incredible. It has Danny DeVito, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Christopher Walken all being used to the extent they needed to be used.
Yeah, so like that alone
So
has
that's
me
enough
very
for me.
interested. Yeah.
Yeah, that's enough for me. So yeah, I don't know. Like I've watched a lot of his stuff. I think like since I was like a goth kid who was very into like the black and the Hot Topic, because I would say Hot Topic owes a lot to Tim Burton.
Yes.
It really does.
Yeah, I was
Absolutely.
surprisingly not as into it as I probably should have been. But yeah.
I was adjacent to people very into Hot Topic and Tim Burton.
Yeah.
So I think we actually need to talk about the movie Beetlejuice, but let's take a break
Let's
first.
take a little break.
Let's do it.
We're worth it. We've all seen a Tim Burton movie that harmed us, and now we need to give ourselves a little self-care.
Yes,
Yeah.
we need to bio-exercise.
This episode is brought to you by Autumn Vibes.
Oh, great.
God.
Because I am so into fall.
So this is character growth too.
I'm
You've gone
always
from
into
summer to-
autumn.
okay.
No. I start the summer off going, I'm going to love summer. And then it's too hot because it's Texas. And then I'm ready for pumpkins. I'm ready for my PSLs, which I've already had. They're too sweet, but I've had my PSL. I've had my Dutch version of a pumpkin drink. I haven't had my pumpkin ice cream yet, but yeah.
Was it wearing little clogs next to a
No.
windmill? Oh.
But next time it could be. I can make it happen. So yeah, go out there, get your pumpkins, bring your pumpkins out. I have one pumpkin that stayed outside my home for 2 years at this point, and I think it'll always be there. It's not a real pumpkin, it's ceramic.
Okay.
I wish it was.
I was a little worried there for a moment.
No.
I was just imagining a black pile of goop.
Right, it'd be more Tim
Yeah.
Burton if it was a real pumpkin.
Well, I will also be getting real pumpkins as well, so.
But what is ceramic if not clay, which he does use claymation. So
There you go.
Wow.
something. Wait, when
You
it
really
hits
tied that something together for me.
Thanks and you're welcome. When it hits winter, you going to do winter vibes?
I
That's
was going to
gonna
say
be
no,
gross.
but then I got a little jingle of Christmas in my head.
Well, because eventually it'll be the night before we have to record an episode.
Oh, I
and
thought
you
you
have
said
an
the night
ad
before
read.
Christmas.
It will eventually be the night before
You may do one for winter vibes.
We'll see, but right now I'm fully into autumn vibes, and you can use offer code PSL.
For
Pumpkin spice latte, obviously.
no,
Yeah, but what
is
do
it?
you get?
Oh, a pumpkin spice latte, obviously. But
From
you have to
where?
go buy it. I don't know, Starbucks. Just enter the code and say get my PSL.
You can
All right.
make a pumpkin spice syrup, not too difficultly, and then you can put it in your coffee at home as much as you want.
Yeah. But you'll have to do your own research
Oh, yeah,
on
Google.
Oh,
that.
I was like, are you going to
Google it, bitch.
No.
You want to use real pumpkin. It makes a difference. And then
So not
you can
ceramic pumpkin.
don't use a ceramic
Oh.
pumpkin.
Well, shit.
Next time.
And then you can use like pumpkin spice in there, and then it's sugar and
Spice and everything nice. Oh. Sorry, Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, but you're not making them. Who are you, Professor X? All right, we'll see you after the break. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you spent your break enjoying
A PSL.
a PSL and the autumn vibes that it may have brought you.
Yes.
pumpkins are kind of slept on. I just want to say in foods.
Oh.
Like I think Americans we do our pumpkin spice lattes, we do our pumpkin pie, and then sometimes I think that's about it for like how Americans consume pumpkin. But
Maybe a pumpkin soup.
Yeah, I was gonna say soup would be the other
sometimes
one.
a pumpkin soup, but even that I don't often encounter them. But pumpkins are like they're a whole ass food that you can. They're a melon. You can get them a lot. When I used to live in China, and they pop off with the pumpkins. I went to this Chinese restaurant, and they had these little pumpkin sort of like glutinous donut things, and they were fucking incredible.
That does sound good, actually.
I plan on like going and just buying a bunch of those and like showing up somewhere with them and wowing everyone with these like.
I'll accept them.
Yeah.
And basking in the accolades you get for bringing
I'm
such
gonna
a
go to
delicious treat.
I'm gonna go to some potluck and bring like 50 of these like pumpkin glutinous because they're so gooey inside, so pumpkin-y. So my point is, we need to fuck with pumpkins more.
Okay.
Because like I like a pumpkin spice latte. I am white. I don't know what your excuse is, Sam.
I'm basic.
Okay, that's
Right.
fair.
I always
You're
forget,
basic.
I always
I'm
forget you're
white.
basic. And I'm complex but still white, but I don't really like pumpkin
Oh, there you go.
anything.
I do.
But I'm open to changing my mind.
I'm gonna get you some pumpkin ice cream.
Great.
Ooh, I would try that.
It's good.
Yeah.
All right, we can't put it off anymore. We have to talk about Beetlejuice. So, the plot, there is technically a plot.
Yes, there's a couple who dies, and they remain in the house, and a new family moves in, and then Beetlejuice is there.
Well, also, seeing this movie as a grown adult paying attention, I'm like, oh, there's a lot more there than I ever paid attention to as a kid. Like, the couple is, I don't know if I think they're relatively new to the house. They're getting it ready. The realtor bitch lady is like,
The actual villain of the piece, which is what I said last night. I'm like, that realtor lady who shows up at like 6:45 in the morning to be like, I sent a random couple a picture of your house that you're not planning to sell, and they made an offer.
I thought it was that they had lived in the house for a while, but it was like the realtor lady was saying it was too big for them because
Yes.
they
correct.
weren't able to have kids.
That's what
Right.
I was going to say is the realtor came over and was like, you don't need this house. This other couple has a family.
Right.
And you don't. And I guess that's personal for me, who has suffered from infertility. So I was like, what a bitch. And you see this couple
Yeah,
I
driving
have
around.
not suffered from infertility, and I clocked that as
Yes.
extremely inappropriate
I
and
did as
bitchy.
So bad. But, and then like you hear them talking in the car as Gina's driving, Gina Davis, whatever her name is, I don't care. She's Gina Davis, and it's Alec Baldwin. I almost said Adam Baldwin, different actor.
Not related to each other.
No, but they're driving, and they're like, maybe we can try again next summer. Right before the dog kills them.
Yeah.
The other villain.
Yes, the other villain. So the realtor bitch.
The heaviest dog in the world, because
And the
he
bitch.
is
Holding up a
holding
car.
up a car, and then he jumps off the board, and the car plummets into the river, and they almost drown, but they're fine, and they go back home, and her arm is frozen, but then obviously they're not fine. They died.
They
They're now
died.
the
They
ghosts.
died.
And they're trapped in the house.
For a movie where so little happens, it was confusing. Because I
Yeah.
think that's my
Yeah.
biggest complaint. I like this movie. It's not as good as I remembered it, but it was very cute.
Yeah.
And it is very simple in that it's like they're like a basic yuppie type couple, basic normal white people. He has a little
But
miniature.
very beautiful
Yes.
white people. I was like,
My God,
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin.
I know. I was
mean,
like, I always forget that he used to be really hot.
Oh yeah.
Because hot is not something that I associate with him,
No.
like at the top. Because I'm like, 30 Rock.
Yep.
The voicemail where he called his daughter a pig.
Yeah.
He shot somebody. His wife is crazy and
greatest
fakes
hits.
being Spanish. Like
His
that's what I
greatest
think. So hot doesn't really enter the equation. But I was watching the movie last night and I was
Yeah.
like, oh my god,
I watched The Hunt
that man
for...
is so beautiful.
He's so beautiful. I watched The Hunt for Red October a lot, and it's similar era of being just like he's so young and cutie. No, he was like the hot one out
Yes.
of all the Baldwins.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them. They all kind of
probably
look.
still
one could
is.
say too many.
There are too many of them. Yeah, it's like I like the premise in that it's like okay, you have these really normal people, and they get haunted by like weird people who move into their house. Samantha, did you just bang on the table?
I kicked the table by accident, but I did not hit the microphone this time. Or the table.
Oh.
Or I didn't hit the table, I kicked the table.
I think it's clever in that usually I think the idea is, oh, you have these normal people and they're being terrorized by weirdness, right? In this one, you have like the ghosts are kind of the most normal people in it,
Yes, they are.
and everyone else around them is weird, eccentric people, city people, and there is kind of a through line about family where they want to have a kid and then the first kid they meet
Yep.
I think this movie could have been a lot better if it cared to be, which I don't think it did.
I know what you mean.
Like, they could have had a scene where they actually really bond with Lydia.
Yeah, because it's wild how attached
Because they don't.
They don't.
how attached they are to her.
She's like, I like that little girl. And it's like, what's her name?
that little girl.
I like that little girl. It's like the one person who's seen you. And
Right. Do you just like the fact that she is a child?
And
that's what
And here-
Michael Keaton likes
and-
about her.
oh. I was about to say, and she's alone and lonely. Which Michael
Yeah,
Keaton
she's
also.
utterly alone.
Utterly alone.
As she says in her suicide note. That's right. A child who's being preyed upon by a ghost writes a suicide note in this film.
Yeah, it's a fun, wacky jaunt.
Family film.
It is a film about family.
And that's what's
It
so
is.
powerful about it.
And that's what matters. That's what makes it so powerful.
But the dad loves his birds, and that's his family.
The actual pedophile in the
Yeah,
movie,
the actual-
Jeffrey Jones. Everyone's performances were fine. Like, I think things could have been cranked up a little more for some of the family's performances, but I think it's okay. Like, he's serviceable in his role as dad who
doesn't really want to be a dad or a husband or work. He just wants to look at birds and sit in his one room.
weirdly the most relatable character for me.
Brett was kind of making fun of him, like staring out and watching birds, and there was something else, and I was like,
Oh yeah.
but I.
He was like,
that's
that's
what
a
I'm.
terrible roof, but wow, great parking. And Sam was like, you know what?
I was like, this
I
is
can
what
really
I'm
relate to
becoming.
that. And I was like, that's because we're hurtling towards middle age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just like a middle-aged guy, and then he has an eccentric wife who's
Played
the
by
stepmom,
Catherine O'Hara.
who does a perfectly good performance in this. I don't watch that TV show everyone watches,
Schitt's Creek.
and I think that's where she's gotten a lot of more notoriety.
Yeah.
But she's fun in this.
She is. I like that. She was one of my favorite parts in the movie.
Can I spoiler alert or spoil a few things from the new movie?
Yeah, thank you for alerting us to the
We've
Spoiler.
never done spoilers on this podcast.
Spoiler.
I'm assuming its plot is probably also fairly minimal. Did they put more plot in it?
Eh.
Yeah.
They had
It's not the
several.
point. It's not the point.
The new one, they had several things going on and didn't do a lot with
That's what I've
them.
heard. That it's just like there are lots of just
Yeah.
like loose threads and just kind of like.
Well, that's kind of like Beetlejuice.
Yeah, but it was, yeah. But
What a coincidence.
and this is double the Beetlejuice. So
but the dad is technically in the new one, but not the actor.
okay,
But in a way that I was like, I like it. It'll do. And I feel like he's very much more in his own element in the new movie.
Did they CGI him in
No.
as
Is
if
he-
he was dead?
No?
is he a dead?
Do you want me to tell?
Yeah.
He is a dead.
Yeah, who cares?
He's a dead, and he has
Spoil it.
had his upper half bitten off by a shark, so he's just a person with no
Oh, that's good.
head
Yeah.
walking around.
I think that's great.
I think that's a great way to
Yeah.
tackle an actor getting arrested for soliciting nudes from minors.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep. Yeah. So there was that, and then also Catherine O'Hara in the new one very much gave me Schitt's Creek vibes. Like,
Yeah, I mean, she gave me Schitt's Creek vibes
Which I
in
love,
the first one
but-
too. Honestly,
yeah, and it's
just out of touch.
what I
rich
love about
lady.
her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So.
so yeah, she's out of touch, rich stepmom who
Like art
does
snob.
sculptures no one likes,
Yes.
except her like sycophant.
sycophants. Yeah.
and her terrible friends who hate her.
Yeah.
Everyone like hates each other in this
I
movie.
literally think every character hates every other character except
The yuppie couple who
the
like
yuppie
that little
couple,
girl.
and they like each other, and they like
Yeah.
they like Winona Ryder, and that's it.
Yeah, everyone else is just like kind of nasty and dismissive of each other, and like all the friends they have over are just terrible people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, Tim Burton, who are you spending time with? Because this all seems really personal to me. Yeah, and then they have Jeffrey Jones's daughter is Lydia, and she's like what is she, like 13, 14? She's pretty
Yeah,
young.
something like
Young
that.
teen.
Yeah,
Young teen, she's like
with
goth.
clinical
darkness.
depression.
Yeah,
Yes.
she needs like actual intervention and help.
Yes,
But that's fine. This
but
was 88,
instead they tried neglect.
Yeah.
which is often the choice, but it doesn't always work. You know.
And in the
Yes.
new movie, they state that her mom is alive. Her mom is not dead.
Oh, her real mom
yeah,
is alive.
her biological mom is just
Okay,
also neglectful. So
well,
we love a pattern. We love a pattern of family neglect.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and then of course, yes, you have Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin are charming, good-looking, boring white people, and their only trait is that they don't really like change and they want a kid. They don't really care who that child is, it seems.
Yeah, and he builds
Miniatures.
miniatures. Like,
And the
he's got a
miniatures,
miniature of the town.
The
which,
miniatures are really the standout. Like, there's
They're
so
great.
many
They're
miniatures
so
in
good.
this. Like, there's miniature cars, there's miniature sets. Like,
there's a miniature whorehouse.
there is. Because, again, Beetlejuice's one character trait is that he's horny.
Yeah, he's sitting on the like balcony of the whorehouse when he meets the teenager and is like, but what if I hit that also? And I'm like, you're in a whorehouse right now.
He's thinking ahead.
He is. You know what? I like a forward-thinking titular character. So never mind, I'm on board.
Wish it wasn't pedophilic, but you know.
Yeah.
But it's like, what? Okay, so we talked about this earlier, but okay, so he's a freelance bioexorcist, which is a funny idea. Again, there's a lot of like really funny
It's
ideas.
a great concept.
It's all just sort of half-baked,
Right.
right? So he's like a bioexorcist, he's freelance. It's not clear what he actually wants because it's maybe freedom, but it's unclear
What that even means.
why he's even stuck in their miniature town. Like, presumably he chose to go there because he sees their obits and thinks, I can get them. But is he just stuck as a miniature person until
Until they say his name 3 times.
which is also spelled differently?
Yes.
But pronounced the same way.
But he like can't tell them what it is because it's like a Rumpelstiltskin type thing.
It's not clear.
It's not clear. And I do really like all the stuff that takes place. That has to do with the bureaucracy of being dead. I thought that was really funny and fun. You know, they get a handbook.
That they don't read.
No. Well, they try, but they're like stupid.
Yeah.
Yes. I didn't think they were stupid until we got to the whole handbook thing, and then they go to the bureaucracy, and the receptionist is like, you only get 3 help tickets in your first 150 years of being dead or whatever.
They use them like immediately.
Yeah. And I'm like,
And they never
if
read the
that
book.
were me, I would simply say, my mistake. Thank you for your time, ma'am. We're going to go home and read the handbook, and maybe we'll be back.
No,
But they do not do that.
They're actually extremely passive. Like
are.
they try a couple times. Like, so they're trying to haunt for the 2 people who haven't seen this movie, right? Or you just haven't seen it in a while. They're told that it's their house, so they need to remove. It's their problem. Now there is a freelancer that is haunting their house as well, named Beetlejuice. Maybe familiar
Yeah,
with
he
him.
beams a commercial. That's how he's first introduced, is that commercial, which is really funny.
It's fun.
I love that because he's like, I'll eat whatever you want. I'll drink whatever you want. I'll chew on the dog.
Yeah, it's
And I'm like, pardon? But also, it's so funny. I'm like, you chew on that dog. Why not?
There's a lot of character and energy.
There's certainly a lot of energy.
Something I was wondering about the dead characters is I'm wondering if when they die, do they just become more of what they are? Like, Beetlejuice is just so horny, and
And the football players are so
complacent.
dumb.
Exactly, the football players are so dumb.
They're
I'm
honestly
like-
maybe the funniest part. That one
They
scene with
are.
the football players is so funny.
I keep calling that
Coach.
lady coach. Yeah.
I'm not your coach. Coach, where's the bathroom?
Where's the men's
It's like,
room?
You're dead.
I don't need the bathroom.
Oh yeah, I actually loved those football players.
Yeah,
that was so funny.
a side note.
Yeah, they're
But
good.
yeah, no, that actually makes sense. That theory makes sense.
Because the couple's so dumb. Are so
Yeah.
complacent. Like, so just like, I guess we're just gonna ask people.
I think that's how everyone is in this universe.
Yeah.
Like, no one is thoughtful or complex in this movie. Everyone's just sort of like a cartoon character. They have one personality trait. That's what they do.
And whenever someone gets grievously injured, no one reacts.
It's fine.
Like the dad is dropped from like
Yeah.
the second story of the house, like onto his neck, basically, and like no one reacts, and then he's fine. There's a couple later that's blasted through the ceiling. Nobody reacts.
I
It's
assume
fine.
they're dead, right?
You'd think so, but no one cares. And then at the end, obviously, it's so clear that like you just need to say his name some more, and that'll defeat him. And one character's mouth is like sealed.
But even then, she goes, Beetlejuice. It's like you could literally just go Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
Right.
You could just do that.
And then any other character would easily pick up on.
No.
Like, even really stupid people would know that's what it means.
I was thinking about our talk about, like, an incantation when you're reading stuff. Like,
Oh,
is it because you
intention?
need to have the, like, intention,
Yeah.
the feel? Like, do you have to have the force behind it when you say Beetlejuice
No,
to, like,
but
really
I don't
mean
think
it?
so.
He's
'cause,
tricking
yeah.
people into it using charades.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, it's
Right, like
really
that-
just
You're
the
right, yeah.
name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sam, your theory would make sense, but it's not what's going on. It's much less
I was trying to help.
sensical.
Yeah.
You
Tim
could-
Burton doesn't need your help.
Oh, you know what? You're right. He
and
doesn't want
you
it
are
either.
black, so he doesn't
Yeah.
want it.
Well, then he wants to hear my opinion.
He
Yep.
does.
Because boy, do I have brown hair.
Yeah.
Yes,
am pale and
he
wear a
would
lot of black.
love you.
I mean, maybe.
He'd love your look.
Okay, maybe. He would have dug it back when I looked like Lydia. Although I never did wear like veils. I was never like that kind of goth.
I do love when she wears a veil to dinner, and I'm like, that's the one time that you really shouldn't wear a veil, because
you need
how
to
do you
eat?
eat?
So my husband and I went to go see Repo Man, which is like such an amazing movie. Everybody check out Repo Man. It's a very like 80s punk sort of movie by Alex Cox. And we went to see it, and one of the like things in the movie is that there's like weird coincidences that are like maybe the plan of the universe. And it's like one of them says like, oh, you know, this is literally a line from it. It's like you hear the words plate of shrimp, and then you're just going to start hearing again plate of shrimp and see more plate of shrimp. And then in the movie you like see plate of shrimp. And then I watched Beetlejuice and they're eating like plates of shrimp. And I was like, it's all coming together.
Yeah.
The
What
plates
is that
of
called?
shrimp.
That's
Shrimp
Bader
cocktail?
Meinhof.
Oh, is that what that is?
Mm-hmm.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh, it's shrimp cocktail? That's what it's called? I'm an idiot.
Yes.
I'm hungry.
I'm dumb enough. We're going to eat after this. I'm dumb enough to be a character in this movie.
You would not have said Beetlejuice during the climax.
No. For any character. Oh, no. During the climax, I wouldn't have been there. Miss me with that.
Yeah.
Like, unless I'm literally the people getting like summoned, like the Gina Davis where they're
Right.
turning into like skeletons, like I guess.
Right.
But they know the magic, so they would say it.
Yes.
They know the whole thing.
Right.
Presumably, but they are very stupid and don't act like they've learned anything
No.
in the
Oh,
whole
no.
movie. Which would be fine if they established, like you said, Samantha, that once you're dead, you're sort of like stuck in this sort of like, I don't know, because I think there's that
Yeah, like
kind of
maybe-
lore about ghosts, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
that they're these sort of echoes of people, but they're not like fully fleshed humans. But I think in this, they are supposed to be literally the same people,
Yeah.
but not.
Yeah, they're dumb enough to hang out a window to hide from a bunch of people who can't see them.
Yeah, they're real. They have a book that literally tells them everything they need to know, and they just leave it out to get taken by gay icon Otho.
Yes, who actually was pretty funny, and I love that he was like, oh, back when I was a paranormal investigator. Oh, back when I was a hair analyst.
I love it.
And I'm like, icon. That's the representation that I personally deserve
Back when you
as
were...
a former hair analyst and former paranormal investigator.
He's kind of like the standout character that I thought was really fun and worked really well. Because I was a little disappointed in Beetlejuice himself. Like, it's not a performance problem, but it's just like, what's your deal, dude?
It's more of a direction or like concept problem.
It's a concept problem.
Yeah.
Because they needed to establish, like, like we need to understand. I mean, I guess we don't because people love this movie. But it's
It
like,
would have been helpful to just be able to say one thing about his actual motivation.
yeah.
That's all we would need.
Like, what if
Literally,
he
it's
just,
I think
just
he
like-
just likes to fuck shit up. I don't think he cares where he's going. He just
so when
is
we get
bored and wants to
So
do
agent
shit.
of chaos.
Yeah.
so when we get the exposition from another standout performance is their caseworker. When,
I loved her
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
when we get her exposition about Beetlejuice, she should have said, like, look, he's not right. He thinks he's helping, but he's like id incarnate. And he's just chaotic. He's destructive.
You're right.
Like, he wants to help you. He thinks he wants to help you. But, like, at the end of the day, there's no purpose to the destruction.
And you just need to get the hell away from him.
Yeah, you need to get the hell away from him. He's a problem. He's mad. He's crazy. Just like
He'll chew on the dog.
he will chew on the dog and he will marry your child. Like, he's a problem. And then that would have been
Get
a
you a
little
man
more...
who won't do either of those things.
But instead, he's sort of like a used car salesman, sort of
Yeah.
just slimy, disgusting guy, which
Unbathed.
he is very disgusting. looking.
Unbathed, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's got, like, shit on his face. I
Yes.
think. I don't know.
He's got, like, the stuff from Creepshow just, like, growing on the sides of his
Yes.
neck. It's like moss.
Right.
Slimy moss.
I was also reminded of, what's his name? Radagast from the Hobbit movies,
Oh,
where
he
he's
just
just covered in
bird
bird
shit?
shit for whatever.
And our big epic Hobbit movies, and then Radagast, the Brown, shows up, and they're like, Brown, like poo-poo.
Yeah.
Have him covered in poo-poo. Don't check out The Hobbit.
No, but
Watch the
they
first
are
one.
additional movies that
They
were
exist.
made. Yeah.
Yeah, they do exist. You can watch them if you want.
Yeah. But we can't condone that.
Okay.
We can't sanction that buffoonery.
I do have to give a shout out, though, to, I've already said it, but it bears repeating. The special effects in this are incredible. The stop motion is so charming. It's all very charming. I love when the yuppie couple makes their scary faces and they have these
Yeah.
big masks on. They're just sort of wandering around, and they're using their, like, eyes that they've pulled off to look at each other and, like, tell each other how, like, it's very
Yes,
cute.
it's like
They're
Osvaldo
so
holding his
cute.
eyes and then also holding his glasses so
Yeah.
that the eyes can see. And I'm like,
It's
that's
adorable.
funny.
It is the
Yeah.
thought put into the visuals is way more than the thought put into anything else.
Oh, yeah. And all the makeup and whatever from everything in the undead bureaucracy world. There's the very flat man
Yes.
He's great.
who has his own custom door that only he can fit through because he's flat.
Well, and I was like, did they hire him for that role because he could fit, or did they make that custom door for him?
I'll ask Tim Burton the
Thank
next
you.
time I see him, and
We
I'm
need the
sure he
deep
has an
lore.
answer.
We need the
Thank
Silmarillion for Beetlejuice lore. And it's probably just that handbook. That
We'll
we
never
would-
know.
We would actually all read.
No.
It's like, I'll look through it. No, I'd read it. I would. I do read a handbook, so.
I don't.
Comment
And
below
wouldn't-
if
yeah.
you know how to read. The sandworm thing is really fun and creative. I love that it's not
Yes.
really explained. It's
Yeah.
just that if you leave your house that you're haunting, because they try to leave, they can't.
Right. You walk out your front door, you're on Arrakis, and there's a sandworm
Yeah.
with another sandworm inside it, and it's going to get you or be tamed off screen by Gina Davis in like 5 seconds.
It's great. It's totally fine.
That's all fine.
Yeah, I liked all that stuff. I liked I think the menacing statues are scary at the end. Those did scare me when I was a kid. The one that's like a rib cage looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty creepy. The fun possession scenes are fun.
It is, well, okay, yeah, let's talk about the possession scene. I don't have a ton to say, but I do love that it's basically just a partial possession, because they're singing and dancing, but they're still themselves reacting to suddenly finding themselves singing and dancing.
Well, and they
and
get-
so some of them are like so horrified, like, what is happening? And then like some of them are kind of into it.
Yeah.
And I really loved that.
Or
It's
they're
so
into
funny to watch
it,
them like,
and
yeah.
then they're like horrified, and
Yes,
then they're back into
right.
it.
And I actually think that's all hilarious. The only thing that's weird is I'm like, why does Lydia leave? Why didn't she stay to watch the shit show?
Her character makes
she's
no
laughing
sense.
and like, this is great. I'm gonna head out though. I'm like, you wouldn't stick around to watch
She
this?
remembered she's a sullen teenager. Have to
guess.
go.
Yeah.
The adults are having fun.
Oh,
Bye.
you might be right. But yeah, that scene is great. And then I actually really loved the very end, the happy ending. I actually thought they earned that pretty well. Like there was, it was set up enough of like, they wanted a child, she needed parental figures, and they all got, and the
They're
parents
all
wanted
the-
to neglect her,
Dad's
and like
still
they all,
going easy.
right? And he literally hears the music from his room, and he's like, "Guess that means Lydia got an A on her math test." But he didn't come out to
we
talk to
don't-
her at all. He just was chilling, watching some birds or
She
whatever.
needed the bare minimum, and they needed the bare minimum, and they were technically the bare minimum for each other.
Yes. And her reward for acing that test is to be lifted in the air and dance to the little song.
With the football
Belafonte.
players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and the football players showing up was cute.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I really liked that happy ending.
Yeah, we have another happy ending, like The Faculty, where our weird girl turns normal.
Yeah.
Because it was all a phase.
Yes, as it always is.
Yeah.
She still has an edge.
Yeah, I agree. She still has more edge than like the other classmates we see her saying goodbye to. But yeah, this movie is like a whole lot of noise and nonsense.
Yeah. And the music
some of it's
drives you
fun.
forward.
Yeah.
I think Danny Elfman did a great job
Yeah, it's funny that...
in his way.
Yeah.
Yeah, Danny Elfman is, again, one of those film composers that you know immediately when it's Danny Elfman.
Yes.
He just has such a sort of frenetic, fun,
And
crazy, bombastic style.
It would be fun to play. Like there's so much, like there's a full orchestra, you can hear it, and every time I watch this movie I'm like, if I could have
Is that
been
the dream?
in the orchestra.
The dream composer to work under?
No, but it would be a fun time.
Who would be the dream composer?
I don't know. I'll have to get back to you.
Okay.
Lydia
I'll think of-
Tarr.
Conductor, but also
Oh, yeah,
She
what?
did some
absolutely
composing.
never.
I sort of watched that
I would
movie.
say Howard Shore for me.
Oh, and I've gotten to play Fellowship of the Rings with the movie in the background. I got to
So
play in the orchestra, and
cool.
it was incredible. So you know what? That's definitely up there, if not it.
I wake up every single morning to Concerning Hobbits. It is my... And I have it set that it slowly rises in volume, and it's just like a beautiful way to wake up every morning. Highly recommend it.
I
I
knew that,
love that.
because I was in charge of playing the music at your wedding, Mel, and I could not get the Bluetooth to pair to the speakers until the literal last minute, and I was panicked.
Yeah, we did play Lord of the Ring music that I told Brett it was his one job. Don't fucking...
And I very nearly did.
He took it,
but I took it so
You took it
serious.
so seriously.
I was definitely
So
serious, but
stressed.
I still almost fucked it
did
up.
not notice, and that's all that
Perfect.
matters.
Well, no,
That is exactly
I did
right.
get it done, but it was like at the 0 hour.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect vibe for my chaotic wedding that I
Yeah,
had.
and perfect vibe, representative of me.
I gave you one job, and by golly, you did it.
I
did.
was looking over at Brett going, it's not me.
Well, you had the first job, so at least
I
that's...
did,
Well,
yes.
there were people who'd have picked it up, but like you at least were done. Pretty
I
much.
was. Oh, yeah, no. And then it was smooth sailing once I got it to pair.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. It was my pleasure eventually.
But yeah. Danny Elfman's fun.
Danny
Yeah,
Elfman is
agreed.
fun. I mean, I do think there needs to be a bit of a shout out to Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Like, he's an actor that people don't really talk about much, but he just shows up, he delivers a great performance, and then he's just gone. Like,
Yeah.
he was in, he's in one of my favorite movies of all time. Jackie Brown is one of my favorite movies. I love Jackie Brown. He's not the lead or star role in that, but
He's not Jackie Brown.
He is not Jackie Brown. That is,
I know Jackie Brown, and he is no Jackie Brown.
But you know who is Jackie Brown? Pam Grier.
That's right.
Who is also in a little movie called Mars Attacks.
Oh, snap.
Oh.
Plate of shrimp.
Bader Meinhof, ball.
One person laughs at me and you. Your own joke.
Also very on brand for me.
But Michael Keaton, he was in Birdman. I think
He was great in Birdman.
he's
I
so
love that
good.
movie.
Like, he's low-key so good. And I do say low-key because it's like, I think when people are like, oh, the greatest actors of our generation, like, no one's going to say Michael Keaton. And I don't think that's, like, unfair. But when he shows up, like, he's always so good. Like, even in that Spider-Man movie, the one with Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Like, he's really good in it.
Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, he's really good in that.
The Vulture or whatever.
Yeah. And then, speaking of contrast, he and Tim Burton made Beetlejuice in '88, and in '89 they made Batman, and he was Batman.
Yeah.
Very, very different performance than Beetlejuice, and he's really good. Like,
I like him as, I think he's a very charming Bruce Wayne. He also has a very stunning hairline that he's always pulled off that I quite like. He's an interesting looking guy.
yeah,
I like him.
me too.
He's good. The end. We like Michael Keaton.
Shout out, duly noted.
How was he totally good in the new one, Sam?
Oh yeah. He was great.
There you
And
go.
he was the same Beetlejuice, so
Was he
That didn't surprise me. I feel like he's the type who like wouldn't miss a beat even after all these years.
in the movie? Does he go after Jenna Ortega?
No, he's still on Lydia.
Oh, well then there you go.
That seems much better to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want your wacky, fun character that everyone remembers loving to be a pedophile. At least I personally wouldn't. And it sounds like Tim Burton didn't either.
Wow, this is woke culture. This is
Wow.
PC run amok.
It is true.
We're canceling pedophiles now.
No one is safe, truly.
So, what did we loathe?
Oh, yeah. I guess the script a bit. I mean, I don't loathe it.
No, because there were plenty of moments that did have me cracking up.
It's
That were like that were scripted. That's tough. I feel like there's nothing I really loathe. It was just sort of an overall kind of meh with bright spots.
Yeah.
But like, well, I think I loathe other things Tim Burton has made. I loathe Alice in Wonderland.
I loathe imagining this movie made in 2012.
With
The fact
With
that I can
Johnny Depp
imagine
as
that.
Beetlejuice.
Yes, I can imagine it so clearly in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate that.
Yeah, that's a good loathe, I think.
I loathe that there weren't more singing possessions.
Have you guys seen the Beetlejuice musical?
No.
No.
I really want to see it. I heard it's really fun.
Well, I got
Let's
a
go
hand
right
job
now.
during it once.
Whoa.
From some congresswoman. Was that what she was saying?
I think it was, yeah.
You had me in
She
the
was
first
vaping.
It is amazing. Shout out to
Another shout out.
friend of the pod, Lauren Boebert,
Oh! Oh, God.
From your lips to God's ears.
for giving
Yep.
an over the pants handy during Beetlejuice the musical
Yeah.
to like a Democratic donor
Mm-hmm.
guy.
Yeah. She was a real one for that.
What a time to be alive. And that's only the second funniest thing she's ever done, because she did like a fundraising event where she like provided pork sliders from a restaurant. Everyone got diarrhea.
Oh, no.
So whether she's giving you a handy or bloody shit,
Oh,
Wow.
that's a great note to end this
That's
on.
versatility. I tell you what.
Is
There are
it
two shout outs, Michael Keaton and Lauren Boebert. Amazing versatility from both of them.
equal?
is it gay? You tell me.
Otho's gay.
Pretty gay, actually. I mean, Otho was the only gay character.
I think the caseworker's probably gay.
Yeah. When it was just, yes, I think she is. When just like so campy and like
It's very
colorful and I don't know. This is one of the gayer ones we've had in a while, I think. And I love a devious gay who's going to steal a handbook
He is devious.
and seem like he's making up a spell, but then it works, but it also makes the ghosts turn into skeletons.
I'd say 3 shrimp cocktails out of a bowl of 5
All right.
is how gay it is.
So hungry. I was going to say, and I will say, 4 out of 5 ghost football players.
All right. I'm going to say 2 Bader Meinhofs out of 4.
Oh.
Okay. So
And that's final.
so
you can quote me.
pretty gay, not very loath. I think we all liked it fine.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna like it more than I did, but I still liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, oh yeah, it's a festival for the eyes.
Certainly.
Which is what Tim Burton used to be good at, and it sounds like he's maybe learned his lesson. We can all just pray for him.
I do nightly.
Oh,
Pray for Tim Burton.
I'll pray for other people.
And for
He's
waiting
fine.
woman is in his eyesight. at any given
I
moment.
assume based on our conversation, Lauren Boebert.
You
So
know,
I'll pray for her as well.
she does have brown hair, but she's not very pale.
Oh, that's true. Well, I'll pray for answers then.
Okay. Well, where can people find us?
I'm so glad you asked. You can find us on Instagram at Queer and Loathing Pod. You can email us at our Gmail email account. It's queerandloathingpod@gmail.com.
You're saying it right, but you seem so unconfident with how you're
Yes,
saying
thank
it.
you. I do. And then various letterboxed accounts.
I've link treed them up, so in our Instagram you could click on that.
Yeah, we urge you to do your own research.
Yes, do your research. Decide if you really do want that vaccine yourself. And if you say our podcast name 3 times, we will show up and grab your ass.
Oh.
And that's a promise.
And a threat. Until next time,
I'm queer.
I'm Loathing.
And I'm Samantha.